We allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. The republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Proclamation, we have none. Public comments, I don't see Ian here, so that takes care of that. Moving on to consent agenda, are there any questions from the consent agenda?
Well, I have one, but you answered it, but I think that my question was letter F, removal of no parking signs, 800 block of South Second.
That'd be Mickey. And I mean, did you have anything else you want to know about it, or are we good?
No, I just didn't know if everybody knew what it was, and I didn't.
No, it actually just went on there today. It's just the idea that they said there's some no parking signs that used to be there because of an existing business. The business is gone. So now it was just a nuisance for the homeowners who have those signs in their yards to mow around when it served no purpose. So we just need to make sure what it was. Okay, that we remove them.
So it is the only no parking signs on all of Second Street. That business is Oak Ridge Acres, it's not open anymore, so.
Sounds good, thank you. Thank you, Nick. Nate.
Welcome. Thank you. What did you want to ask about softball?
Yeah, I had just a comment, I guess, on the softball land lease for you. When you do it, get into the detailed design on that. Thinking you might have a water problem over there with the groundwater running across that.
We
Those
noticed
rain you had, it looked like it.
everything from the software, the baseball field north up about the bank, all that drains down in the parking lot, across the parking lot, and then back east. So we are aware of it, and we are planning on making provisions for drainage of all that.
That you'll need to,
Otherwise, we're gonna flood it. Yeah,
a mess.
yeah. No, I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, we are looking into that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, then I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Not, maybe.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, moving on to new business. Let's see, try to- The Kayla Williams is up from BT and Co for the audit year end 2022 report.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, good evening. My name is Kayla Williams. I'm a manager with BT & Co. Included in your packet for today's meeting, you should find the City of Hiawatha's 2022 audited financials, as well as a letter that we've sent addressed to the City Commission. This evening, I'm primarily going to go over that letter with you. So if you want to find that on the very first page of that letter, open up my copy here. On the first page of this letter, we address our responsibility to perform an audit in accordance with specified accounting standards. Those standards require us to perform procedures to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free from material misstatement. Our procedures include examining on a test basis evidence to support the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. We also assess the accounting principles used in the significant estimates made by management, as well as evaluate the overall financial statement presentation. In this letter, we would bring to your attention anything identified in the procedures that we performed relating to significant alternative, adopted, changed, or controversial accounting policies, significant accounting policies in emerging areas, or significant unusual transactions. For the current year under audit, there were no items of this type. If you go on to page 2 of this letter, you'll see that there were some audit adjusting journal entries that were recorded as a result of our audit and provided to management. Those adjusting entries can be found in the very back of the attachments that are provided there after the representation letter. But those have been provided to management and will be booked in your financials. Further on page 2, we go on to describe what are considered to be departures from the auditor's standard audit report. Because the city has adopted a resolution that is in compliance with Kansas statutes to waive the requirements for US GAAP and allows the city to instead report on the regulatory basis, there are some additional paragraphs that have to be added to the report describing this departure. But overall, I'm pleased to report that we did have what we call an unmodified opinion on the regulatory basis of accounting. This is the best kind of opinion that the city can receive. So that is the good news. If you can keep going with this letter onto page 3, there was one other paragraph that we needed to add to the report to explain an emphasis of matter related to a prior period adjustment. This adjustment is further described in the notes on page 10 to the financials. If you go on page 3, there's a section for observations about the audit process. It goes on to page 4 as well. This is where we would bring to your attention any disagreements with management, consultations we had with other accountants, or significant difficulties in performing the audit. Fortunately, there were no such matters that needed to be brought to your attention related to those. Finally, at the end of this letter, we attached a copy of management's representation letter. This letter puts into writing matters that are required by our standards to be represented to us by the city's management. We provide this letter to you because we believe that it will help you as a governing body to better understand the city's representations about the financial statements and help you fulfill your fiduciary responsibilities. There's one other part of the city's report that I'd like to bring to your attention. The city is required to have what's called a single audit done to meet the requirements of uniform guidance due to the amount of federal funding that you received. On page 48 of the audited financial statements, you'll find what we call the schedule of findings and question cost related to the 2022 audit. For this year, the major program that we were auditing was the Community Facilities Loan and Grant Program. For this program, we audited the city's compliance with the types of compliance requirements described in OMB's compliance supplement that could have a direct and material effect on the program. Ultimately, management's responsible for compliance and internal control over compliance with these federal regulations, statutes, and terms and conditions of the federal awards. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on compliance for the city's major federal program based on our audit of the types of compliance requirements that were previously mentioned. While we believe our audit provides a reasonable basis for our opinion on compliance for the major federal program, our audit does not provide a legal determination of the city's compliance. But as a result of our audit, I'm pleased to report that we determined that the city has complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements that could have a direct and material effect on its major federal programs. Additionally, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control over compliance that we considered to be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, which we would bring to your attention at this time. So before I open it up for any questions, I would just like to thank Becky and Megan and the rest of the city staff for their assistance throughout this audit process. With that, are there any questions?
Any questions from anybody? I don't think so. I think we're all satisfied with it. And it sounds like it was a good thing. So I would entertain a motion to approve the audit year end 2022 report as presented.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
So moved and seconded to approve the audit year end 2023 report as presented. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, or if not my job, that's your job.
All in favor? All opposed?
Motion passed. That is my job. I used to do that. Okay. Hannah, thank you very much for joining us and taking care of the report and everything. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your night.
These days go a lot faster. Moving on to item 2 under new business, Miami Street repairs. Brad, would you like to let us know?
So on Miami Street, the intersection of 4th and Miami and also the intersection of 6th and Miami, we have some concrete that's deteriorated around what they call construction joints, where they poured different sections of concrete, and for whatever reason, the concrete starts breaking out where those two joints meet. So we need to do something about that as soon as possible. And also on 4th and Miami, there's 3 manholes that are there. 2 are high and 1's low. So we need to bring those to grade. So when people go over them, they don't feel that as much. And so the cost of, I know with Brad Raceberger, And the cost of the repair for that would be $9,189.37. And the reason I'm bringing it to you now is if we could get this approved and get this going, we can hopefully get this done, get it on its schedule, get it done by the time school's back in session. So that's the reason for the urgency of this, I guess. And also just the repairs need to be done, but
Would they probably wait until July when, I mean, summer school runs through June. Of course, it's just in the morning, so it would that
I
matter.
don't have to talk to her about the schedule, I'm sure what the schedule is right now, or where it would be, where we would be on that, but if we wanted to, request that it's put off to July, we may be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't know what the matters are, I just know that, like I said, in the morning, they have summer school, so it's just
Yeah,
whatever works, obviously.
Andy, do you see a problem with the city going ahead and making those repairs to patronize the streets?
It appears to be kind of a safety issue, so I mean, it's something that we're gonna have to do, we'll just make sure we keep track of that as we try to close out the streets project.
You want to? Motion?
I would like a motion.
All right. I'll make that motion that we approve the quote provided by J&B Contractors LLC for concrete repairs at 4th and Miami Street and 6th and Miami Street, including 2 construction joints and leveling 3 sewer manholes, correct?
that's correct. Yes.
Manhole lids for a price of $9,189.37.
There's a second.
1 second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed. 5-0.
Good, thanks, Brad.
Okay, thanks, Brad. Item 3, the Hiawatha fire truck discussion. Sheldon?
You all should have in your packets, and I have a quote from Ace Fire for the purchase of a 2024 Ford F-550. $68,000. My ask from you tonight is to consider the moving of funds, the amount of $131,000 that was allotted for a building addition this year to the purchase of that truck. You also should have in that packet as well the description of the truck, price of the truck, and then a couple of screenshots of what the truck is going to look like, and then the used prices of similar trucks on the market today. And this would be essentially replacing our existing Unit 5, that it's our main first response truck to many fires. Generally, every fire that truck goes down to single one. That truck is a 1990 with 26,000 miles. The truck that we have in service now holds 300 gallons. The truck that we're looking at has a 500 gallon tank. There's a 10-year warranty on the body of the truck, lifetime warranty on the tank, 3-year warranty on the pump.
You said it's a 2023 or 2024?
Well, I was looking through that and it looks like they quoted us 2024, but at the very bottom of the quote,
What even it says 2023 Ford F-550 Prairie Ranger bus truck.
2023, that's where I was reading. It says the chassis price for 2023 pricing, Ford has not released their 2024 price. Expecting it, so it is a 2023 chassis.
Do you know when they tend to release the next pricing?
I would imagine sometime in September.
So we still have a little bit of wiggle room.
We do.
And you and I have talked, you know my opinion that right now I'm not comfortable to say that we need to make this decision right now.
Understand?
I mean, I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes either.
Good.
I mean, I'm only one, so.
So what we do with old Unit 5 is,
Well, I've had some discussion with Brad, and the reason to replace the truck is because whenever we put it into a fire, it dies. It's died 3 times. Tired of seeing that. We don't know why it's happening. The truck runs fine. It's great for first response trucks. Whenever we went to the Kickapoo fire, I drove it, it ran fine, we drive it. It goes to every call. But I'm talking to Brad. He has room out of the street department on the north end of town. And that's an opportunity to put the truck there. It's inside, it's heated. And if we need it, we can go out there, we can get it. It can be used as a mop-up truck for those purposes. I would definitely, if this was to go through, that truck would not be the first one out the door in field fighting fire. But if we keep it on the north end of town, that gives me the opportunity to go north to get the truck. There's also a couple firemen that live on the north side of town as well. They can go get the truck and respond. Because of right now, we don't have the room for it or this. The truck, to quote its worth, I can't tell you what it would be worth to somebody or another fire department. But it's not a bad truck.
I'd hate to sell a truck that we know doesn't always, I mean, yeah. And I said, it's just, that's a big chunk of money. I don't know if we need to do more like going out for bid on.
I've received 2 other companies for this. I received one out of Hiawatha for 270,000. Another one out of Massachusetts. The one out of Hiawatha was for a skeeter truck, a similar truck. And they just enjoyed their price. And then another company out of Massachusetts called Bushwhacker. It was a really cool truck, but it was 300,000.
So how much do you have in your budget?
In my budget for this year, my total budget is 262,000. We've expensed 25,000.
Of the 262.
Yes, ma'am. 161,000 of that was a lot for the building.
How much was allotted for the building?
Well, 131.
131.
Then we're right back to zero sum then for the building, which that's.
We're back to the zero sum for the building. That is correct. But now with the help of the girls in the front office, this fire department is eligible to apply for grants for that building. I worked with Mickey some on some of the discussions. The federal grants have passed for this year, but we just became grant eligible the first part of this year.
Which that's good news.
Yes.
Well, my first thought is, what's more important, a new building or a fire truck that's dependable?
That's
You know,
for you guys.
There's no question.
I mean, the old gas station is held up. Is it full of holes? Absolutely. Every time we open up the doors to use either one of those trucks in the winter time, the heat's gone. I think last year the gas bill for that building was either $4,000 or $6,000 just for that. So I mean, there would also be with a building addition, you'd have that additional saving, but
Is there grant money for a truck?
not that I've come across yet. Everything that I've seen for federal grants already came.
Well, so I would like everybody to sit and chew on this for a bit. I just don't feel comfortable making this decision now. I mean, Brian, I haven't heard you yet. Do you have anything you want to add in?
No, I was gonna ask if there was a grant for the truck too, but we got that covered.
What's what else is opinion? I'd rather just wait, do a little bit more checking first before we say yes.
Yeah, and do we have the other $31,333 to cover the rest of the truck?
It can be found in the budget. We also have some of the volunteer fire department's funds that can be allotted to this as well, our donation account.
So
That is the number one thing, the safety of the firefighters and
If you pull out the full amount of 168,000 for the truck, that's still in the fire department, another $90,000 off. I think last year we handed back over roughly $80,000 out of a budget that we didn't expect.
I need at least another.
I understand. That's why I'm here to bring it up and have that discussion, so you guys can talk about it, so.
Patrick. Can you all?
What?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I did talk to Gary Shear and he said he would like to look at it again. So that might be something to at least get down there and have him take a look at it.
Okay. I can do that.
So, any other questions for now?
I guess I'm just, it's your money.
This is taxpayers' money.
It's,
And it's a significant chunk that we're not going quite through the same process we usually do, just because of situations and so I'm not ready to completely supersede those ways we usually go about doing this.
well, I guess since I've been gone, the situations are different because it was that we just had their checkbook, but it was their money. So,
They do have that on 90, that's theirs.
pardon me?
They do have an account that we hold that's theirs.
Yes.
So this, what do you do?
And I have to apologize because I told Patrick I would look into this, but if the building was, if those funds were allotted for a building and we're gonna use them on a truck. I don't think there's a problem at all, but I'd like to make sure we're not gonna get, we just had such a great audit.
Well, I'd like to point out as well that our newest truck is a 2015. I mean, it's already 8 years old. The next newest truck's a 1995. I mean, we've proven that we can take care of our equipment. We keep our equipment. We do a lot of work on those trucks down at the fire station. Yes, there are some things that we have Gary work on. But there's a
I
lot.
don't think if the 90 was purchased brand new.
It was not purchased brand new. I believe that truck was purchased in 1994.
Okay.
If I remember hearing that correctly. Now, that was factual information is beyond me.
Let's
Well,
start with,
I'm going to agree then. To sit on it. We'll just hope and pray that this old truck that you're having the problems with makes it.
And the sad thing about it is that we've had to condition ourselves fighting grass fires to the abilities of the truck.
Yeah.
And that's, neither here nor there, but if something was to happen, we've already worked with the firemen to, because the pump doesn't die, the truck engine, the pump's still running. So we know we can use the water that's on the truck to make a safe path out. So firemen are not in danger. You might lose the truck in the process, but firemen won't be in danger.
No, I appreciate you came in front to talk to us and like I said, because the process usually as well, and we just know
Right.
that this is just. Sometimes things have to change a little bit. But then I said, well, we'll check to make sure that if this is what happens, that we're not gonna get any trouble. As far as the funds, and then,
So, I mean, I still have the post from other companies. If you'd like for me to produce those, I sure have them. I did find another company out of South Dakota that produces the same style of truck. Just happened to work in Plot City one day and drove by the fire station and they had one sitting out there. So I stopped and talked to them and said, and heard where they got it from. So, but this company being right here in Kansas, I thought was a good opportunity to support a local company in the state too.
was there ever any discussion with any of like Sac Fox for Cape in the tribes?
Tried to communicate with Sacrifice, and one time there was some discussion of purchasing the truck that we're looking at right now. But I haven't heard anything, that was 6 months ago.
Because that was something that Becky had said, you talked about that.
And I kind of stopped calling her. I called her like once every 2 weeks after we had our initial discussion. I haven't heard anything back, so I just kind of stopped. I assumed something must have happened, so.
And it was, you said Sac Fox.
Yes.
Okay. You might try one more time just for kicks and giggles.
I'm sure.
You never know. This is a free try. I mean, it would be free. I didn't realize there'd be services that go along with that. So let's start there.
Good. Okay.
Thank you. Yep, thank you, Patrick.
Okay, item number 4, the public library. Hello, Aaron.
Hello. It's been a little while since I've been here, so my report's a little longer than normal, but I just wanted to come by and give as much info as I can so far. I believe I included, in what I sent in, highlights of our statistics from 2022. And I won't read everything on there because there sure is a lot, but then in the report, I just highlighted that the value of our services that we had at the library in 2022 totaled over 1.1 million. Those are things that we do for free, and the way that we calculate those is a lot of it we can run reports to see how much a book is worth and how many times it was checked out, and then on top of things that can be checked out at the library, then we can go in and do other types of calculations for, you know, if somebody comes to a program that might cost them $15 somewhere else, but it's free to come to us. We can do those kind of calculations and do it by how many people attended our programs over the year. So that's how we get to some of those numbers. So it is, we started tracking these kinds of numbers a couple of years ago. So it's really nice to see that from 2021 to 2022, that we really kind of exploded our services. After COVID, we got back in the groove of putting out programs for all ages. And so we've been able to do all kinds of fun programs in the last couple of years. So like so far in 2023, we've had 238 programs and almost 2,000 attendees for all of those programs. And that's through the end of May, maybe June so far. And like last year, we had 85 teen events, and that's more than double from the year before and more than quadruple from 2019 before the pandemic. And so in last year, we had 823 people attend our youth programs, which is really exciting because we didn't have a lot of people coming to those age that age range for programs. So we're really happy that we've been reaching that audience, and we've been going to the middle school where we go there in the fall and closer to summer and talk about what the library can do, and we talk up all of our fun things that we get to do for those. And so far we're in our third week of summer for a summer library program. We have 134 people signed up so far for this year, which is just about on track for what we had last year. I'm really happy with all the stuff we're doing. I listed a lot of what we're doing in my report, and I won't go over all of it, but we have we're partnering with Second Harvest again. We have snacks provided a couple days a week. We have a larger meal provided when we do our family movie Fridays, and we track things on Bean Stack. That's how we have people track their reading on the app, and so they're automatically entered in to get tickets for our grand prizes. And our little kiddos, we have fun pop-up tents. So this summer is all together now, and we're fostering community partnerships. So we have little pop-up tents that looks like a fire truck. It's like a school bus. We have one that was a spaceship and a food truck. So once a week we do a drawing, and anybody who has been reading that week, we call them up if they've been chosen for that week by random on Bean Stack, and they can come in and pick which tent they take home. So someone picked up the food truck, and it came with a little chef costume that they got to send home with them.
The first one they chose was
The food truck. Yes, it was very cool. One side you could hand out ice cream, and the other side had hot dogs and hamburgers on the side of it, and a little chef costume came with a hat and the spatula and all that fun stuff. So they're very happy to take that home. It was fun.
That is cute.
The second one was the spaceship, so that was the second most popular, but it's been really fun so far. We have a Plinko board. Anybody, we don't require that you've been reading that at all. Anybody who comes into the library once a week, you drop a disc in our Plinko board, and you get to pick a prize out of our treasure chest, or take a book home, and that's for any ages. So we have preschool all the way through adults. We have books, and we have canvas tote bags and water bottles and hats and all kinds of stuff that people can take home this summer. I did skip over some of my other updates, but like we helped at the Chamber's annual dinner in February. They partnered with the library, and we did our version of life-size Clue. So we had people come dressed up as Clue characters from the board game, and we played. That was their program for the evening, is that we played that game. We got little cards, and you had to interact with everybody around you and play Clue and find out who done it. That was a really fun time. We started doing our senior socials earlier this year, and it's been going really well. We have between 8 and 10 people. Any senior in town is welcome to come to the library. The first and third Fridays, I think, is what we're doing. And from, I think it started out being like 1 to 3, but they'd really come maybe a little bit earlier and stay a little bit late. Because they like to talk and they play dominoes or Uno and we set out snacks for them. So they really appreciate that time to get to enjoy each other's company. And then our other fun thing that we've done recently, Miss United States, Lily K. Donaldson contacted us and asked if she could come and have a story time at our library. So we did have the reigning champion of Miss United States come to the library. She is a scientist in her off time. So she brought one of her lab coats that all the kids got to sign while they were there, and she did autographs. She talked to everybody who was there, stayed as long as she needed to talk to everyone, and read the book Rosie Revere, Engineer. She was very lovely, and we were really happy that she called us. Part of her nonprofit that she does as a scientist is getting STEM kits and books to rural communities, and so she brought along some books and things like that for us to have, and she handed out little airplane kits and things like that. So it was really fun to have her at the library for an evening. I think the only other thing really on my director's report is that our Friends of the Moore Public Library is part of the Hiawatha Community Foundation, and we raised they raised over $19,000 at the match days event this year. So we're really pleased with that. It's still going really well, and all of that money, everything in their foundation account goes towards our elevator because it's over 30 years old, and it's on our list of things that needs updated. So we're about halfway there now. We've raised about $53,000, which is about half of the estimate so far for the elevator. So we're now eligible to apply for some other grants, the Sunderland Foundation and other things like that we can apply for and try to get that updated soon. That's all I have for my report. I think I also included like the trustees group, our budget for 2024. I know budget season is going to look a little different this year, but or it might anyway. So but anyhow, I did include that. And then just my overall statistics just through so far this year. And that's a lot of numbers, so I won't go right into that. But we did include that for you.
Thank you, sounds great.
Yeah. I talk really quickly, so I'm sorry, but it doesn't even have any questions.
I appreciate just everything being given to us at time, so I can look through it. So sounds like lots of neat stuff.
Yeah, we're really happy with everything we're doing. We are hiring still. We're looking for a community services librarian. Miss Kelly Meyer, she's going to be a para librarian with the school district this coming fall. So we're looking for someone who can do all the things she does. She's really helped do all of our community partnerships in the last couple of years. So I'll just plug that out there. But otherwise, that's all I have. I guess we have had some concerns brought to us by patrons about our alleyway. So I said I would maybe just mention it. The rain recently has really washed out a deep rut kind of in the middle of the alley behind the library. And I know the police station, fire station can get some of that too, but I'm just going to bring it because I believe it's my understanding that the city does own the land that the library sits on, or the library itself. So I just thought I would bring it up while I was here.
I don't know, we put rock down there before, not that long ago.
They were working on it today, actually. They should
Yeah.
reach out to me.
I was gonna say, we did see someone grading behind the police station. They didn't come all the way to us today, but I know that I'm sure we need rock.
Yeah, our dump truck broke down, so they should get the part tomorrow, so, but it's in the process.
Okay, well, then, never mind.
Oh, no, thank you for bringing it.
Yeah, we just had a lot of people come up to us and say, can't you do something about it? It's like, well, we'll see. But thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to reports from staff. So Megan, that would be you.
I just have the website design, we had a mock-up earlier this week, and it looks really good. So I just want to say that we did much. Okay, so we had a mock-up web design, me and Stacy did it, and it's looking really good. We just changed a few things. It's just the design, no like information in it yet. That'll be after the design's done. Looking really good. It'll be a lot better than our old web design. So the new mock-up will probably be here Wednesday, Thursday. We'll take a look at that, and then I can always send it out to everyone to look at the design because it's really neat. If you have any suggestions, let me know.
Thanks for getting that done. It's been a process.
Sorry, can I jump in?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I apologize for the late email. Just before the meeting, I did send an email. If you haven't seen it, at the county commission meeting on June 5th. The commission asked the city clerk to invite representatives from the city of Hiawatha to attend the June 19th meeting to discuss dispatch, I believe. I don't really know much more than that. We did this a couple of years ago, so I do have a kind of a file and some things we're looking for, so I can get with Becky and take care of that. Obviously, if any commissioner wishes to attend, as long as there's not more than 2 of you, that would be fine. But we'll let you know when that's going to happen. And likely, we're going to have to arrange for a different time other than the 19th, just for scheduling purposes. But I just kind of want to keep you in on the loop. I don't know what those discussions will entail, but we'll report back and see.
Moving on to comments from commissioners. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm moving on to Brad Scott and just a couple of things. That's what I meant to say.
So we have our annual chip seal project that's coming up. The county did want to move us up to earlier in June, but we've had them agree to push us back until maybe the first part of July. But we have a situation up on North 3rd Street, that's north of Cheyenne Avenue. The street's just falling apart up there. It's in pretty bad shape. I was asked to look into looking at that street, which I did. And so most of the information I've been able to get was from previous staff that worked here. And from what I understand, the street used to be gravel at one point. And then I think there must have been a car crash in there at some point. And so we did some improvements up there, put it to chip seal it, put it to asphalt. But I don't think anything's been done to it since. And so what's going to take to fix that street before we chip seal, before we go through this route this time? Is we're gonna need about $12,000 worth of asphalt in order to do it. We're gonna bring a hot mix asphalt in and spread that and then go over the top of that with the chip seal. And so this is something that's actually budgeted within the street department budget for that. But it's something that needs to be done before they actually go through the chip seal. That's the only reason I'm bringing it to you today. I would wait otherwise, but it's just something that I think we also need to move forward with now.
So it is officially a street.
Yes. It is, as to the best information I can find, yes. It's on some maps as a street, it's on older maps, it's not. Best information it has, it's a street.
If it needs to be fixed, it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would wait otherwise, but since we're pushing it, that's why.
If there's a motion, I'll sure make it.
I mean, we don't need a motion, do we? It's within. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Okay. And also the downtown streetlights, as some of you well know, the downtown. Just in the 600 and 700 blocks of Oregon, downtown streetlights are dark right now, 500 block as well. Best guess I have is that we had a storm a couple of weeks ago. I had a call from Commissioner Hall that the downtown signals were flashing at that time, but there was also some damage done to the streetlight contactors themselves. So we need to replace those. We had one extra, we replaced it. Found out today that all 4 were bad. The cost to fix that is $1,101 in order to fix that. So we need to move forward with that as well.
Yeah, because they were off. I had 5 different calls on Sunday.
Yeah.
And they were off at that time, and then I got a text that said that they were now flashing red.
Yes.
Yellow.
Yeah.
And I had already called you on that.
And the best guess I have is that it came from the storm. I really can't prove that it was lightning or anything like that. I mean, that's the best guess I have, is that we had a storm today, but it's just lighting contactors. The traffic signals will continue to work downtown because they don't go, the electricity doesn't go through those lighting contactors, so it will, this fix won't affect the traffic signals, but They were off the other day because we had to diagnose the problem. Got that done. They would be affected.
And what's the cost on that?
$1,100 is $1.
Well, that too.
Yes, that's why.
You have a timeline for taking down the signal on First Story.
We should get our bucket truck back tomorrow. We can actually take that signal down. ADOT said they needed just a few days advance notice before we do it. So I would say within the next week or two, we have those signals down. I plan to send out a text after the day we do it. That way people are aware that we're doing the work up there, because there's gonna be. We're gonna have to traffic. It's awful to do it, so.
I appreciate how much work you did trying to get KDOT to see our version of why we needed those lights, but
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else you could have done. When they kept citing 2 traffic studies that said we didn't need it,
Yeah.
so.
I think they had a line made up already.
I think so too. And we're still gonna meet with the school and see if there's any other avenues that way that the school can maybe pursue, but. I mean, I don't know, it's just how can we not be concerned when that's right by our main school? So. Like I said, you did what you could.
We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Wish I could have done. All right, that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
I don't have a question, I have a comment.
Yes.
When we were out there meeting with KDOT after they left. They were talking about the poles are gonna have to be painted. And I volunteered to help paint the poles. After the horizontal ones are taken down, so I kind of challenged some of the other commissioners to help paint the poles too.
When you're painting them, you know,
Pardon me?
when you're painting them, I'll help.
All righty, we have one.
We got the vertical poles are gonna stay up because we have streetlights that are actually up on top of those, and I was thinking when. We were going to take them down. And her Rollins brought it up to me that those need to stay, because if not, it would just be a dark intersection at that point, so. You know, I agreed to that, they're gonna let the vertical stay, so the wires come off and all the. Signals along the hard.
So as long as I need to be the bucket truck,
Yes.
then yeah.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna shoot it with their neck. Like a monkey.
I see nothing but bad things happen there.
We're a bucket for us when you get in the bucket. I told you that.
Thank you.
Thanks, good job, Brad, thank you. And thank you about Third Street.
Oh, yeah, nope,
Oh,
absolutely.
Thank you, may I have one more moment?
Yes. What do you want to buy now?
I didn't want to buy anything. That's all that was about. We did have a structure fire, obviously, 25th of May over at 114 Kickapoo. They did damage the house next door. Very fortunately enough, they both had the same insurance. I never heard back from the state fire marshal on what their investigation. I was there with them that morning. The insurance showed up, fire marshal was there. I know the insurance and probably all the total loss, so I might have another thing about it. We had a car fire for USD 415 on the 2nd, so got that put out. Paul Schaefer, the second assistant of the fire department, he is no longer in Hiawatha. He's moved from Hiawatha, so he's no longer on the fire department. We have 16 members now, from 11 from January or December of 2021. Gaining progress there. We just had ag partners and emergency management had a grading alternate class this last weekend here in town. And we sent 4, there was supposed to be limited seating, and we sent 4 firemen to that. So got a report from one of the guys that was there and looking at some different tools and stuff for grading alternate, if we ever come up with it. It's my understanding, I think Robinson has one, Horton Ag Partners has the gold grading alternate. So. And we raised
a little over $10,000 at the Hiawatha Community Foundation meet.
That's good.
So yes, thank you to the community. That is overwhelming support. That's just awesome. 2 days of that much funds that's incredible. And this is, I got to thinking about this when I was putting this together. Not very often do generally a volunteer fire department pretty much saves the foundation. You can see a lot of structure fires we go to, those houses no longer exist. I do like to point out, this is the first of my knowledge, that the house fire on South 4th Street, they are actually rebuilding it. They are not tearing it down.
Really?
Yes, so I have to hats off to the firemen that from Robinson and the squad and us that I was there, that we saved a structure. So
That's great.
so I think that was the first time since I've been on the fire department since 2007, that's never happened. So thank you.
Good deal. Yeah, we appreciate it. Okay, anybody else, or can I move on to now? Comments? Seems like this is similar to what I said last time we had a meeting, but I not want to go without commenting on the passing of Larry Payne, who helped us out tremendously this past year, being our interim administrator. So I just want to make sure that we recognize him and think of his family, who obviously this would be a tough time. Same thing with Steve Locke, who just passed away this week. I mean, I served on the school board with Steve many years ago. What he's done for this community and people is, I just wanted to make sure I recognize him as well, because I don't like any of these reminders about how short life is. So there's 2 more for us. So do what you will with that. I just wanted to comment or say that talking to both Brad and Stacy this morning, and Stacy let us know about there was a water pipe break out of Bruni. Just what, 3 hours worth?
Yeah, about 3 hours worth, is about what I think, yeah.
Turning the concession stand and the maintenance shed into a pretty nice waiting pool, from what I understand. And so Stacy said she's in the market for a good used refrigerator. If anybody has a refrigerator, because that one's gone. They lost the deep freeze, they lost the air compressor and just other stuff. So, but also kudos to the water department for getting out there as quickly as we all did to get it taken care of, because I think that was quite a mess. So Brian, do you have anything?
I would like, obviously I'm not in town, but I was wondering if we have got anywhere with mowing some of the lots that are a couple feet high. I've had lots of complaints about them.
I know that the one by the elementary school, that one's been mowed, and I hope that people understand that some of those lots that we don't own, we have a process we have to go through, and it's at least 10 days, right? We have to give them a letter, they have to respond or have an attempt to respond. So yes, I would say, and Brad, do you have anything else to add to that as far as? But I did notice the elementary school one, just like driving all of them.
So this year we have Gene Atwood, our maintenance, he is taking care of our derelict properties for us. We bought a smaller bush hog so we can actually knock those down, not do a lot of damage to our mowers. It's a lot better process. But right now, what we have to do, we work closely with code enforcement. They give us a list of what we can mow, and then we go and mow those lots. And the idea is that we can knock them down, keep them from being called the first time, and then after that, we can maintain them with a regular mower. The safe wear and tear on the equipment, but that's a process that we're making right now. We get the list and then we go through them. So I don't think all of them are done, but I think we're still waiting on some of those to come back, or I know there's a process that we have to follow, but it is getting done, yes.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of, I had a list that I was gonna talk to Dave about and whoever. And, they've been mowed.
Yes, it's starting to move along now. It takes a while to get that moving, it seems like, because we have to wait for all the legal things to go through, but Once it gets there, they move it pretty fast.
Looks like you have the excavator ready to take down another house there on the north. Okay.
Yeah, they block keep moving. That's correct. And that one is, I believe it's already been a resolution. That one, we had to submit that resolution to, it was either the gas or the electric service to have the utilities removed, but I believe that was ready to. I think they got a couple of times. I think we're ready to get on that one. That should be moving along here pretty fast too.
Anything else, Brian?
Yeah, I'd just like to add that lots of times people are more than happy to let people help if neighbors or anybody in the area that's willing to just help out, help your neighbor out and ask if you can mow their yard or get in contact with somebody. It's much easier for a resident to mow these yards and help somebody out than basically us going through the court system to do this. But everybody normally is very receptive on letting someone mow their yard if someone's willing to help some people out.
Good idea.
Okay. Dave?
The city of Hiawatha was awarded the 18th year of Tree City USA. There's new stickers for our signs. Tree City USA is, we met the program's 4 requirements, which is maintaining a tree board or department, having a tree care ordinance, dedicating an annual community forestry budget of at least $2 per capita, and hosting an Arbor Day observation and proclamation. And we also received an award. They call it the Growth Award. And the tree board did some extra work last year, planted extra trees. We planted 53 trees altogether, and some other things to earn points towards this award. So we were granted that Growth Award for the first time. You know, these stickers will fit on our sign. They're not wrong big. But anyway.
53 trees. It's a lot of trees.
They'll let them break out, there was 50 of
Oh. So. Okay. I appreciate for the tree board doing all the work to make sure we can continue to meet that, so that's a good thing. Evans?
Everything I was gonna talk about's been covered already, so. I don't have anything other than that.
Okay. Tony?
Well, yes, I do, and it's more on a personal note. I just want to say that along with Larry Payne and Steve Block, last week, not including them, I attended 3 funerals of very dear friends. And actually they were younger than myself. It's a little scary. Kind of hits home. Makes reality set in. And when I came home, I received a call from my daughter that one of our good friends, another one, passed away Friday. And so we have another funeral to attend. So the moral of this story is don't ever forget to tell the people that you love and care for that you love them. Even if you're going outside to mow the yard. It could be the last time. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tony. You just answered.
The next item on the agenda is mine, and it was none of my requests, so. I gave to answer questions if anybody had them.
Do you want to say it? I mean, so we just.
so the executive session for not only personnel, I can put that on my request, I would ask to be invited into the executive session for not only personnel, I don't know if it'll last a whole 10 minutes, but I probably need at least 5, maybe 10.
I'll score it 10, so. I'll make a motion that the city commission recess in executive session in the conference room for a period of 10 minutes to discuss matters regarding an issue of potential city personnel. The justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. The open meeting will resume at 6:41 PM in the commission chambers and to include the city attorney.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Not Megan.
All in favor? All opposed?
Make a motion that at 6:41, the city commission is called back into an open meeting. The commission took no binding action during executive session.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Megan, or any further discussion? I'll get it right sooner or later. Megan.
All in favor? All opposed?
Motion passed. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I made one.
Go ahead.
Then we adjourn.
I'll second.
Move to second to adjourn. Any further discussion? None?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed. Thank you, everyone, and I still have